Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Today, I just wanted to give a quick tour of my music studio so you can familiarize yourself with the space that I'm working in and the different tools that I use to create my music. But before we get rolling, we definitely need some fuel this morning. For me personally, every good studio session starts with a solid cup of coffee or tea. Fair warning, this video is primarily geared towards anyone who has a music setup or is interested in building one out. I'll be sharing with you what are some things that I've accumulated over the last few years to help me streamline my process and just not get bogged down in the setup, which for me just kills the creativity and gets in the way of what we're all trying to do here as musicians, which is write great music. Let's head on over. So this is my studio. This is where I spend the bulk of my time, pretty much living in here. Definitely like to surround myself with things that I'm inspired by. So whether that's artwork from my favorite games or movies or artists, just a few pieces that help fuel some creativity and yeah, it just helps make the room feel like your own. For my music setup, at the heart is definitely my Mac Mini M4 Pro. I recently made this purchase a few weeks ago. I was running into some RAM and CPU issues on my Windows computer, which I've had for almost 10 years now. So I thought it's definitely time for an upgrade. Being a Windows user for pretty much my whole life, it was definitely a bit of a learning curve and adjustment for sure, but this Mac Mini M4 is an absolute beast and it's able to run my entire workflow really well. If you're running big orchestral templates with big libraries within your DAW, it can be really beneficial to your workflow to have some extra RAM and CPU processing power. So that was something I was definitely gunning for this upgrade. On my Windows, it would take about 4 or 5 minutes to load a big template within FL Studio. And then this Mac Mini does it in about 20-25 seconds. So you can just feel the time that you're getting back in your day. I'll leave a description below for the specific specs I went for this Mac Mini in case anyone's interested. For my audio interface, we got the Focusrite Scarlett. I've had this thing for over 10 years. I think at the time I bought it for $100 and I've had zero issues with it. So if you're looking for something a little bit more cost effective, I'd highly recommend this audio interface. They've definitely come out with some new generations since I bought it over a decade ago, but they're still pretty cheap. Just doing a quick search, I think they run between 100 and 150 bucks. For my headphones, we got the classic DT990s. These are just gonna give you a very unbiased, neutral sound back within your headphones, which is what you're looking for when you're leveling and mixing and mastering your sound. And I don't know if anyone else feels this way, but for me, these things are so freaking cozy. The earmuffs, my God, I could sleep with these things on. For my mic, we got a basic Blue Yeti microphone. This is the one you're hearing right now. So I think you can get to sound pretty good with just some minor audio processing. I'm sure there's better options out there, but for $100, for me, it's tough to pass up on. And I use this mic to record any of my own vocals I use for sound effects or voiceovers I use for our game. So I think you can stretch your dollar pretty far with this mic. Next up, we got the keys. I got the M-Audio Hammer 88s. This is an amazing keyboard. I've had it for several years. Only downside I'd say is I didn't go for the model that has the MIDI controllers on the upper part of the keyboard. So I actually just ordered a new MIDI controller from Ghost Note Audio, which I'll link down below in the description. And I actually have my Mac keyboard taped under, because with my current desk setup, I just had to keep reaching my arms forward, and so every day my shoulders would be incredibly sore. So this ought to do for now, but I find it pretty comfortable. Personally, I'm a big fan of the dual monitors, especially working within music. You can have your mixer on one monitor, then the rest of the DAW on the other. If you're using any other tabs within your workflow, it just helps cut down on continuing to tab in and tab out. Next up, we got the Yamaha HS5 studio monitors. Right now, they're in a bit of a awkward setup just for sheer space. I'm trying to find a better location to put them in my studio, but these babies are awesome if you want to switch off your monitoring from your headphones. I do most of my monitoring through my DT990s, but I love to switch it up to my Yamahas when I have the chance. And then lastly, I had to throw this in there. This is an autograph from my hero, Hans Zimmer. Funny story, when I was working back in tech, my colleague went to a concert and so happened to end up sitting right next to Hans Zimmer himself. And so she went up to say hi, and she knew I was a big fan of his and asked if he could give an autograph. Incredibly sweet and thoughtful of her to do this. I think at the time, the only thing she had was a napkin, and she was so full of adrenaline that for a moment she forgot whether or not my name was spelled with an I or a Y. So it's signed with a Y, which I think it makes it even more awesome. So this was definitely one of the nicest things anyone's ever done for me at work. That's going to do it for today. That's pretty much the full tour. Thanks for making it this far in the video. If you happen to have a music setup, feel free to drop in the comments. I'd love to hear what yours looks like. If you have a favorite piece of equipment or maybe some different changes or upgrades that you're thinking about that might help with your own workflow. If you haven't already, feel free to hit that like, subscribe button so that you can stay up to date on the latest and greatest with Olive Hill Studios. We're in the process of wrapping up some internal play testing for Drax After Dusk. So we're going to be having some exciting updates coming out of that. So stay tuned for more and we'll catch you on the next video. Take care.